appreciate it, and appreciate everybody being on the call today and the coverage of the CCHA. I know most of the coaches have talked a little bit about how we've gotten here, so I'm going to try to shorten that up to get us back on target and time here. But certainly each institution, presidents and athletic directors, great kudos to them for working on the CCHA, and to Commissioner Lucia, Dom, and the whole entire CCHA staff just did a remarkable job to get us to this launch point. I'm sure the whole league office will breathe a little sigh of relief. The pressure can now go to the coaches and performing on the ice to carry the banner. But again, just a great job by all campus communities, our presidents, our athletic directors, and again, Don and his staff. We're really excited about it. Obviously, institutionally here at Lake State, the CCHA has a great history and tradition. I look over my shoulder out at many championship banners, and so when we talk about to our fans, to our alumni, as we've traveled this summer, the excitement level's off the charts for Lake State to be going back to the CCHA, and so we're really looking forward to that part of it as well, and getting that launched. In terms of our team, we've talked a lot about leadership the last few years here, and we feel like once again we've got a strong leadership group that's going to lead us. Something we take a lot of pride in is the way we develop our student athletes and our leaders, and this year's group will be no different. Our captain, Louis Badon, is a tremendous player on the ice. As good as he is on the ice, he's probably a better human being off the ice and in the classroom, so we've got a great captain in Louis Badon. Supporting him with letters will be senior defenseman Jacob Nordquist, who again, another great player. Miroslav Muka, senior forward, and junior forward Dustin Mans. So it's a really strong group. Each guy has some different strengths and qualities to the way they lead. And as a group and with the other upperclassmen, we feel like we're in a really good spot with that leadership group, just like we've had the last couple of years. That has really allowed us to take a big step forward with the program. Unique a little bit too with our leadership group, it reflects our team with this heavy international flavor. Louis from France, Jacob Nordquist is a Swede, Miroslav Muka Slovak, and fortunately we've got a Michigan native in Dustin Mans. As a Michigan native, that's important. Dustin will do a good job there and represent the USA in this very diverse locker room that we've built and we carry. I think along with that leadership group is a very strong decor returning. A couple of key guys that will lead the way there. I mentioned Jacob Nordquist already. He's got a couple of Swedes on the back end with him, and Arvid Henriksen, now a junior, who's played a lot of critical minutes and situations for us. Jacob Bankston, a sophomore Swede defenseman now. Took a big step throughout the year. He was a little bit, buried because of some experience in front of him on that left side, but had a great finish to the year, and he's looked really strong early on. So Jacob Bankston will take a big step. And then transfer portal addition, Jake Willits from Ferris State, a former all rookie league player. Jake will step into that lineup and bring, experience. And that was something as we graduated a couple key seniors. We wanted to look at some experience to replace those guys. So Jake Willits will do that along with some other returners like Mitch Oliver, amongst other guys. So it's an experienced group and a deep group that we're really excited about. I think the same thing in net. There's a little bit of inexperience because we graduated Merrick Mittens, who was a Richter Award finalist, one of the best goaltenders in the country. But if you look at the other Richter Award finalists, and Spencer Knight, Jack LaFontaine, and Dryden McKay, our guys, Ethan Langenegger and Seth Isley, played as many games as those three backups combined on those teams. And I think that speaks, volumes about the way we feel about this goaltending group. Easton Hess is a freshman who will join them. But we'll start off with a very great competition between Seth Isley and Ethan Langenegger. They would have had a couple more starts had we not lost games due to COVID last year. But each guy, has a little bit of experience because we trusted them so much to play them, where I think it would have been really easy just to ride Merrick Mittens all season long. We knew how good these guys were and how good they'll be and how important they're going to be this year for us. So we were able to find some very valuable minutes for both of those guys, and that's really going to help us as we start the season as well. And then I think obviously the question is going to be, how do we score? How do we play some of our scoring? And that's not a new question for us. If we look back, Diego Cuglietta, who ended up leading the country in scoring his senior year, had 7 goals as a junior and jumped, I think, to 25, whatever it was. Max Humitz ended up, I think, 3rd or 4th in the country in scoring his senior year. He had a similar jump. And Ashton Calder was one of those guys who exited the program. He had 5 goals as a freshman, ended up with 16 goals last year. So I think our associate head coaches, Mike York and Zach Sizek, have done just a fabulous job of development with our roster and our players. And we expect that development to continue. So we'll have some guys that will step up a little bit more by committee early on. But we mentioned Louis Badon. Jack Jeffers will have to step up and take a bigger role. He had a good year last year. Miroslav Muka, one of our assistant captains, once again, I think he's ready to take on some of that offense. Brandon Percelli, the transfer from Minnesota Duluth, played with us last year and had a strong year. He's been really good early on. And our last portal addition for this year, Harrison Roy from Boston College. Harry will step in and take on some of those scoring roles, along with other newcomers. And some of those guys are freshmen, some of them are returning guys. But that's a little bit how we'll address those scoring losses. And, our goal is to learn from that NCAA game. We had a strong game versus UMass, the national champion. Our goal is to learn from that to get back to the tournament and advance in the NCAA tournament this year.
Okay, quite a few questions coming in. Let's start things off with Brad Cachamilio.
Thanks, Dom, for setting this up. Damon, maybe we've talked a lot over the last year or so about transfer portal guys and bringing guys in like Percelli and Jeffers. What is it about Willett specifically that you mentioned his experience? What is it specifically, maybe further to that made him a guy that you guys wanted to bring in?
Yeah, thanks, Brad, for the question. Again, that was a big part of it. Will Rydell and Lucas Keibel were really good players for us. They were leaders. They played huge minutes. And so instead of just turning, Jacob Bankston, those were left shot defensemen. So we've got Jacob Bankston, Artie Borshoff, Sebastian Medema practiced with us half the year because he couldn't come back over the visa issues. So we have guys that, have played, but instead of looking at freshmen to step into those big roles from day one, if we could go find the right defenseman, we were in the portal obviously, but we weren't just in there to grab a defenseman to plug in. It had to be the right defenseman who can improve our team and make us better. So Jake does that in a lot of ways. A very gifted power play player, and that's one I think he can shoot and distribute. I think we've lacked a little bit of a true shooter, so he'll help us on the power play as well. But he's also got good size and experience. I think he's going to really thrive in the way we play, our style of play, and our defending. So there's a lot of different attributes he'll bring to replace some of those losses, and again, not fall right in the shoulders of a freshman. And I think Jacob Bankston, again, he's a good example of it. We didn't have to thrust Jacob right into a major role. We were able to really bring him along slowly and set him up for success. And I think it's really showing the way he played this year. So Jake Willits will allow us to do that with other young guys on our roster.
Ryan Stig. Sorry, Damon, did you have more?
Hi, Damon. Ryan Stig with the Triple Deke. You guys kind of, snuck up on some people last year. Now the poll has come out and says you're predicted to finish sixth. Are you taking that into account at all, or you guys just don't really care what polls say?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think if you follow college hockey, it wasn't a 1 year kind of blip. I think over the last 3 years, we're 11th in the country in wins. I mentioned Diego led the country in scoring. So, we've kind of probably took a little bit longer than I wanted to get to where we're at and some of the steps we've taken. But again, it wasn't a 1 year kind of surprise and jump up on people. It's been a bit of a process for us to get here. Obviously to sustain it and stay on top is a very challenging thing to do. But so the polls came out, our guys will be aware of them, but we're just going to keep concerning ourselves with playing Laker hockey and building our culture and continuing to, compete for championships. I'm really excited about the Mason Cup. Obviously I played for Coach Mason. I guess the office I'm sitting in wasn't here when he was here, but he founded this program here at Lake Superior State. So not only does it mean a lot to Lake Superior State University, but just in my own life and the impact he had on me and the rest of our staff, or at least Coach York, who also played under him. So, that Mason Cup is something that we would love to win in honor of Coach, and, we'll be looking at that as well.
Matt? Matt, if you're talking, you're muted.
Hey, Damon, Matt Pocket, Bill Crawford here from the SFM and Sault Marie. Tournament champions in the WCHA last season. Do you come into this year with that champion swagger still, or do you kind of put that in the cabinet and say, new year, new project?
Yeah, great question, Matt, and thank you for asking. I think there's a little bit of a combination. Last year's last year, and it's over. And so the celebration and the trophy and all that. I mean, we have a banner unveiling to get through that opening Saturday night against St. Thomas for Great Lakes State weekend. But last year's in the past. But you do learn from it. We've learned how to win. It's not been an easy process here to change that culture and to learn to win and compete for a championship and to get back to the NCAA. So we want to take those valuable lessons from last season and build upon them and grow from them. So there's a fine line there from moving on and being in the past, but also using what it takes to win, how we got there, and helping us get to the next step. We want to get back to the tournament and we want to move on to the Frozen Four. So there'll be a little bit of both of that to that question, Matt.
Let's just do one more. Sorry, guys. Dave Ellis.
Hey, Wits. Dave Ellis from TV6 and Fox UP. First of all, congratulations on the new contract.
Thank you, Dave. It feels good. I think I'm going into 10 years in the UP, so I might be an official UPer. I might ask you to gather up all the people up here and take a vote if I'm allowed to be a UPer now. But thank you.
We'll work on that for sure. Back in 18-19, you guys won 23. You kind of took a step back the year after. Then last season, obviously, some great success. What did you learn 2 years ago that can help you from taking that step back again this season?
That's a great question, and I think it's important. Part of that was schedule. We had number one Denver in our building. Lost a couple of close contests. We went down on the road to Michigan, to Notre Dame. And, like you said, I think for some of the people in our locker room, with that coming off a 23 win season, our players kind of thought we'd arrived. We're here, and we all know it doesn't work that way. It's easier to get here than to stay on top. So it's a great question. And I think there are some great lessons that, like I just said, you have to put last year in the past. It's over. This is a new group, it's a new culture, it's new leadership, and this is about the 21-22 season. So you learn from it. You teach your group about it. You teach your leaders about it. And I think Joey got a question from somebody about player-led team that Ron Mason liked. I think Dave, you might have asked that question, and I think it's very true. So a lot of these guys lived through that. They did not enjoy that experience. So, we'll turn to the team to help lead us through that as well and build on last year and not take a step back. Thank you, Dom, and thank you, everybody.